My boyfriend just admitted to kissing another girl. My boyfriend is really insecure about his size. My husband calls me a gold digger. My boyfriend just admitted to kissing another girl 5 years ago between high school and college. I'm just so angry. So my boyfriend and I started living together a few months ago, and everything seemed so perfect. I had just started a job, we love coming home to each other, and sex is good. Then I come back home early one day and I find him listening to music and sobbing. He didn't hear me get back, I guess, because of the music. Of course, I'm absolutely terrified, thinking he got cancer or somebody died or something. So I run up to him, give him a hug, and ask what's wrong. He gets up, pulls out a piece of paper from the back of a folder he had, and just puts it in front of me. I start reading it, expecting the worst. And it turns out he kissed a few other girls a few months after we started dating in high school, before we went off to college. And apparently he sexted one for a little before he started college. In his letter, he said how sorry he is, how he's been wanting to propose but couldn't go through with a marriage with this secret, but how he didn't want to hurt me either. I somehow kept my cool, told him I needed to think, and went to a girlfriend's place to think things through. I don't even know how to feel. Like, on one hand, this was so long ago, and I get it. High schoolers are stupid, and people change. But on the other hand, the 24-year-old in front of me has been lying to my face every day about this. Was he ever going to tell me? How do I know there wasn't anything more that happened? What if he has another affair or something later on? Will he just keep his mouth shut then too? I really thought he was a good guy, and he always made me so happy. Always willing to listen, gets along great with my family, such a good communicator, or so I thought, with everything else. I never, not in a million years, would have expected this from him. I'm just so conflicted. I feel like the past has all been one big lie, like he cheated me out of being able to meet someone who wouldn't lie to me like this. Were any of his kisses or I love yous ever genuine? I'm really considering breaking things off right now, but my friend is telling me to take a minute before I do anything. She says it's super crappy, but that everyone's stupid at that age. Well, I wasn't stupid like this. But it seems like with the letter, he was going to tell me at some point. Plus, he was sobbing about it before I ever knew, so it seems like he actually felt guilty. Well, that's what my friend says at least. I don't know. I don't want to throw away what could be a great future with this man. But I don't know if that future even exists anymore. What the hell do I do? He told you out of remorse. Most jerks would just keep it on the sly. He wants to do right by you and screwed up. No one's perfect, so don't expect it. What matters is what we do after we make mistakes. This is all true. However, what matters is what we do after we make mistakes. This line is frequently used by cheaters to try and brush away their behavior. Admittedly, OP's boyfriend seems to genuinely regret his actions, and it was a long time ago, and people can genuinely change or grow up over time. But he did still cheat during their relationship and hide it for years, and OP is perfectly in her right to not be comfortable with that and break it off without feeling like she's the bad guy, because no one's perfect and we all make mistakes. My boyfriend is really insecure about his size. I don't have a real way to compare, as I always thought porn was unrealistic and never saw it as more as fiction. We're both in our late teens and it's our first relationship for both. After dating for a while, we've been getting more intimate. When I got to see his, for the first time, he almost immediately apologized about his size, which I found odd. Now, I didn't do this on purpose, but I noticed that his erect was as long as my finger. Then I read about it and saw he's under the average size. Anytime we get intimate, we haven't had sex yet, he apologizes about his dick. Although I've told him many times I love him for who he is and I don't care about his size. But there would be times he had to adjust his in order to make me feel it, and I would feel bad about it as he would ask, "Can you feel it now?" Also, he knows jack about sex ed. He knows a ton of positions, names of sexual acts, ways to masturbate, but not the parts of genitalia or how to avoid STDs, and thinks I'm a pervert for knowing a lot about sex ed. Anyway, I want advice on how to reassure him his size is fine with me, and also how to give him sex ed classes without him getting weirded out about it. Well, the size is not a big deal, as people with really small sizes seem to have fun, but I love how in the first part you were all about caring for him, and later you go, he knows jack shit about sex ed. He sounds immature, and there isn't much advice for that. I'd find it frustrating to have to constantly reassure an insecurity like that. If he can't get over it, I don't know how well he'll actually constructively learn anything from sex ed. My husband calls me a gold digger in front of our children. My husband and I have 2 boys and 1 daughter. We both came from absolutely nothing. I met my husband when he was a senior undergraduate student. I told him about my dreams to go to school and become a nurse, and he told me he wanted to be a lawyer but didn't think he could afford the education. When he got accepted to law school, I encouraged him not to turn it down. I ended up working as a cashier, babysitter, and one of the only female cab drivers in the city to support his dreams. After he made it to big law, I finally went to school and became a nurse. Because his schedule barely allowed him any time away from the firm, I took a part-time nursing gig at a school so I could be there for my kids. In the beginning, my husband told me he valued my contributions. However, he started saying that I didn't do much at all when he was in law school, that I just took a few babysitting gigs because I was apparently bored. He got exceptionally bad when he became managing partner. This year, I caught him in an affair with his 22-year-old former paralegal. He claims that this affair didn't start before she left the firm. She is apparently supporting herself as a painter, which I call bull on. But I can't yet prove how much money he sent her during their time together. Both his and my families are very religious. They demanded we try to work things out. However, we did enter into a legal separation. He moved out and into a luxury rental. We pretty much split it so the kids would alternate weeks at each house. He's made several half-hearted attempts to reach out and offer what I found were empty gestures to be a better husband. However, at the beginning of the month, he blindsided me by filing for divorce and emptying out many bank accounts. He would call me angrily, saying it breaks his heart every time his mistress and her parents cry over the fact that she was basically living in a sin and had to continue living in sin for the sake of love. Since then, my kids have become angry and anxious. They started telling me to stop being a gold digger, and my daughter said that it was her father's understanding that I was still latching on to my golden ticket like I've been doing since I met him. My youngest son also told me about the expensive gifts he was buying for his friend, and how his dad was sad that his friend said she couldn't live with them until I stopped bothering them. I tried to tread gently on the topic of them living with me more permanently, and my youngest son especially got angry and said I ruined everything. Now, my youngest son calls me a gold digger whenever he's mad. And my older 2 kids also constantly ask if this was about money, and why I just couldn't earn it on my own and stop fighting. What do? I feel like everything I say just makes them angrier, and they are overly sensitive to anything that remotely paints their father as less than perfect, with the exception of my daughter, who dislikes my husband's mistress, but apparently tolerates it because she's not living there. He'll get his karma when he tries to have an adult relationship with a 20-year-old girl that he's only been on with a contingent basis. And this is coming from a 22-year-old. We don't know what we want. I can't imagine how stupid you'd have to be to throw your entire family away for someone who can't rent a car. I'm sure you already have a lawyer. Get a court order that prevents either parent from disparaging from the other in front of the children, and then get that gold. He wouldn't be where he is without your help. That is gold you invested in. What would your advice be? Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think.